Hi friends, welcome back to Disabled in Nature, where we talk about all things that are disabled in nature, and sometimes we might even go outside. Today we're talking about something a little bit different. I don't know if this video is ever going to see the light of day, but it's important. I want to talk to you today about someone that is really important to me and how she impacted my life and how losing her changed things for me. Content, trigger warning, I guess, death, grief, loss. So if you're not in this space to hear something like that right now, please click off. Go watch one of my other videos. Take care of yourself. Like the video title says, I want to talk to you about how my best friend's death changed my life. I'm having a little bit of difficulty thinking about where to start talking about this, so let's start from the beginning. My best friend's name was Carly. We grew up in the same town and we went to all the same schools. We were in Girl Scouts together. Here's a cute picture of us in Girl Scouts together. But we were never really super close friends. Now, if you don't know anything about me, I have a progressive disability called FSH, muscular dystrophy. And so I grew up, for all intents and purposes, an able-bodied child. And Carly, my friend, had cerebral palsy, so she always used a wheelchair. Here's another picture of us taking prom pictures together. We went to prom in the same group, but we were never really close. I'll skip forward to my undergrad. When I was going through my undergraduate degree between the ages of 17 and 19, I went through my undergrad really quickly. I graduated when I was 19. And in that span of time, I felt really lonely. I was really isolated in the aspect that I didn't really feel like I had someone that understood the changes that my body was going through, someone that I could talk to about it. I was continuing to lose abilities, to not be able to do the things that I once loved to do, and life was getting really hard, and I was still harboring a lot of internalized ableism, and I was not really I was still under the impression that using a mobility aid like a wheelchair would represent failure, and that walking was the ultimate goal, no matter what kind of struggles or pain or exhaustion I went through. And throughout that time, I had a lot of really sad nights where I would feel despair about my future, and I would just feel so isolated and lonely, not having someone to talk to that knew kind of about the experience of what I was going through. And there were a lot of times during that 2 years where I thought, man, I should reach out to Carly. She uses a wheelchair. She probably has a good idea of what I'm going through. Wouldn't it be nice to have someone to talk to? But I never did it until it was the weekend before I graduated from my undergrad, and this is a long story, but I was in a play at my parents' theater, and she came to closing night, and I saw her in the front row, and I was having a party. I was having a girls' night that next weekend to celebrate my graduation. And I went up to her after the show and I was like, hey, thanks for coming. Do you want to come to this girls' night at my house? She said yes. And so later that next week, she came to my house. She was like an hour earlier than everybody else. As I would learn to be her custom, I was still cleaning and making food for the party, and we just got to talking. We talked about our struggles and what it was like living with a disability, although I couldn't bring myself to say those specific words then. I confessed to her that, I've been thinking over the past few years that I should reach out to you because, you'd get it. You would know what's going on, and we should be friends. And she was like, I've thought the exact same thing about you. From that night on, she was one of the most important people in my life. So over the next few years, she became the community that I really never had. I'd never had someone that if something happened, if someone said something weird to me on the street, or I was having some kind of struggle related to my disability, I never had someone that was just a text away that I could tell my problems to, and they'd be like, yeah, I get it. That's happened to me too. That sucks. Here's how I've dealt with it. Maybe here's how you could deal with it. I never had that. And the value of that community that she gave me, I could never be understated. It was everything. She introduced me to the disability rights movement and disability pride and helped me accept myself when it was time for me to start looking at wheelchairs and mobility aids. She helped me find pride in myself and in how I had overcome challenges presented to me by this inaccessible society. And she was just great. She was always there when I needed somebody. And I didn't feel so alone anymore. Which is why it hit so hard when I lost her. I'm not gonna go into any specifics out of respect for her and her family, but in September of 2020, she passed away very, very suddenly of a medical complication that was unknown, undiagnosed, very sudden. She was living in Arizona at the time, going to get her master's degree. She was going to go to law school. She wanted to be a disability rights lawyer. And I was living in Florida getting my master's degree. It was the middle of the pandemic, the very first year. I was away from every loved one and thing I'd ever known except for my husband. I was months away from defending my master's thesis. She was months away from graduating from her master's program. There are very few moments in life I feel like you can recall that in a split second, everything changes. And I know that's cliche to say, but I think back to the night that I heard what I thought was a rumor that she had passed, and I called her and somebody else picked up the phone. That will always be a defining moment for me. I will never be the same. So after she passed, I lost all of the community that I had. She meant so much to me. I don't know who I would be if I hadn't have met her. I owe her so much. I don't know if I would be okay. I think about how I see myself as a disabled person, as a disabled woman. I think about this channel, though in its infancy. I think about the work that I do in disability advocacy in the community, the people I've met, the stories that they've told me. I never would have had any of it. I really didn't think I was gonna cry. I really wouldn't have had any of it if it wasn't for her and her impact and her influence on my life. So after she passed away, I graduated from my master's program, which was in biology. I was studying zoo animal welfare science. My plan was to do a PhD program once we got home to Michigan. We moved home to be with family and friends about 7 or 8 months later. That plan didn't work out, so I completely switched career fields and to go into disability advocacy, a field that I love and that I'm grateful that I switched to. I would be lying if I said that there wasn't a small or perhaps large part of me that wasn't doing it for her. This is kind of a tangent, but she passed away right around the same time as Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the Supreme Court Justice, and I saw a quote online, "She may be gone, but her work remains." That hit me really hard when I read it. I know that it was in reference to RBG, but Carly was so passionate about the work that she did. She was passionate about advocating for accessibility and just making the world a better place for people like us, people with disabilities, and she never got to finish it. I don't use this word lightly, but she inspired me to do the things that I do today, to start this channel, to share my life, because, oh God, because I know what having someone who gets it can do for someone. I know the life-changing power of being able to talk to someone and have them say, yeah, you're not alone. I get it. That makes sense. It's hard to describe if you haven't felt it. Yeah, she did that for me. And when I lost her, I lost that. So I guess my work in the disability community and this channel are certainly an attempt at me trying to get that back. Nothing will ever replace her, obviously. But I guess I just wanted to make this video to tell you that if you're out there and you're feeling like you're alone, like nobody gets it, like you're isolated, like you're doomed because of your disability or because of other things. If you're also working through grief or loss of a community, of a loved one, I just want you, those people, to know that you're not alone. You're never alone. You're never, never, never alone. There is always someone out there that will get it if you reach out and you tell them. Community is so powerful. And that's part of the reason why I started this channel, is I wanted to find more community. You know, they don't really tell you the truth about grief and loss when you're young. It's not really what it looks like, losing someone. It's the initial shock, and it's the funeral or the memorial, and it's settling their affairs, and it's the immediate time, but it's also forever. That grief never leaves you, even after you're seemingly done publicly dealing with it. And it morphs and it changes over time. I've been through the ringer on this one, let me tell you. But I think I've come to a place where I'm just so thankful to have known her. So thankful that she had the role in my life that she did. So thankful that I get to carry her with me. She's always with me. Yeah, so that's basically it, I think. Thanks for watching me cry on the internet. It was fun. You know, every year around this time, around the anniversary, I get to thinking about her a lot and the impact that she had on my life and how grateful I am for her. And she's a big part of my story. And I wanted to share that with you, I guess. So if you're struggling with loneliness or grief or loss, I'd like to make a safe space in the comments for people to share their stories. Maybe you've experienced something similar to mine. You've lost someone that was really important to you, that fundamentally changed who you are. If you feel comfortable and you want to share your story in the comments, I would really love to talk to you about it. Okay, that's gonna be it, friends. Until next time, be well. Tell the people you love them. You never know how long they're gonna be here. Don't forget to go outside, and I'll see you next time. Bye.